AFL at any level, under eights through to the professional level, it is fast paced. So athletes are trying to move as fast as they can to win the ball, but it's also highly chaotic. It's 360 degrees. So there's lots of different locomotion movements, and this requires you to be reactive with the ground. So someone that wouldn't be reactive and is lacking this plyometric ability and foundation is someone that looks like they're stuck in the mud. They're stuck on the ground and they're not able to generate high amount of force to be able to change direction quickly. Compared to someone who does have this quality, and whether that be through genetics or through training, or perhaps both, they're able to maneuver across the field at fast pace when they want to. So it gives them more control. It makes them harder if they've got the ball from an offensive point of view to get tackled. My son's 6 years old. He does gymnastics twice a week, and every warm-up for the gymnastics session that goes for 2 hours, they spend about 30 minutes of doing plyometric tasks. And that's absolutely important. And that's perhaps why, if you're a parent, it's really important to hire either a strength and conditioning coach, like our Prepare Like a Pro AFL coaches, or get your child involved in other sports that does value these qualities, these athletic foundational qualities. Because as we know, the younger you are, the earlier you start, the more plastic your body is, and the more you'll realize your genetic potential. So what are some safe ways to introduce this? So to start with, double limb exercises. So a double leg pogo, for example, or perhaps a reactive double arm for shoulders, upper body, plyometrics, a medicine ball, where the person who's lying on their back and they have someone else drop the ball from a height, and then a person lying on their back taps the medicine ball onto their chest and then releases as quick as possible. So that can be reactive work for your shoulders. Then we've also got to take into account extensive through to intensive work. So extensive work's typically a little bit slower. You're spending more time on the ground. It's less force into the ground. So it's a good opportunity to develop good coordination, good neuromuscular control, i.e. how rhythmic the movement looks throughout the whole body, and then develop the intensity tasks. So build resilience, build capacity, just like you would with any type of training modality. You generally start with a bit more higher volume, a bit more repetition, develop the skill, the technique. Then as the athlete gets more competent and they're pulling up easier from sessions, then you start to build to more intensive work, where that might be, if the extensive work is double leg pogos, for example, then perhaps we're moving to single leg drop jumps later on in the program, where you're starting on a box and then landing onto the ground and being as reactive as you can and jumping as high as you can vertically. So the force plates are a great way to measure reactivity, and using your eye, it probably lends itself to a bit of inaccurate measure. So I think it's probably best to be truly objective to see how much time the athlete spent on the ground and then how much force they put into the ground. We need force plates are best. So the good metrics to measure reactivity is the athlete is spending around 0.25 contact time with the ground, and then ultimately how high are they jumping. So we can do that with double leg, typically off a 45 centimeter box for Aussie Rules athletes, senior athletes, and then single leg off a 30 centimeter box. And the athlete essentially jumps off the box or hops off the box and then jumps as high as they can once they hit the force plates. And then from there, we get a whole heap of information that we can use to understand their strategy to reach the best outcome, and then ultimately how high they jumped and what was their contact time. Biggest misconceptions, I think typically athletes feel that it's too risky doing plyometrics, or they're going to get sore. So I think education is really key as strength and conditioning coaches if you're working in your environment and it's just a stimulus that has been used in the past and the athletes are fearful. Really sell it. It's special strength. It's done at a lot faster pace than any traditional barbell movement can be done at. So it's going to have some good transference to their athletic qualities on the field, and that's a great way to sell it. And if you follow these steps, then you're giving yourself a great chance for the athletes to pull up well and just get the dosages right. Like you start with, let's say, 50 ground contacts or even 30 ground contacts, 3 sets of 10 double leg pogos, and you do that twice a week and then build them up so they can do it 3 times a week. Then you're going to be safe, and then you just might keep the contacts the same, but you progress the complexity of it from vertical to mixing in some horizontal lateral work, and then ultimately bring them into single leg, and then just monitor the testing over time and coach the hell out of the movements, make sure they're doing it at a really high level.